I would like to talk about my experiences with letting go. Every great story starts with drugs, of course. That's so I'll start it there. So I never really felt in control of my life. And when you don't really feel in control of your life, you grasp to anything that gives you a sense of control in your life. And I was sure as heck was doing that. And it was an illusion. We try and bestow power and control of the people and dictate what they do, perhaps, or we try and control things that are way out of our control, like stability of our employment or similar things around that regard. And it's exhausting, and it's all bullshit. You have no control on that. The only thing you have control on, realistically, is not a lot. What goes on up here, and that's kind of it. And what you do to respond to things. I don't have control over the weather right now. I don't have control if a bird flies over and poops in my head. I don't have control on anything. And it took me a long time to accept that and find peace in that. So, back to the drug story. I went through a phase in my life where I was looking for something outside of myself. And, I do believe that cannabis is a gateway drug. Um, when I was in the military, I was a heavy drinker. When I got out of the military, I realized that just made me a violent man, and the civilian world it was going to get me in trouble. I didn't have enough top cover to keep me out of trouble. So I switched over to cannabis to deal with my trauma. Um, they say it's a gateway drug. Many disagree. This call sign does not disagree. Uh, that went on for a few years. Suddenly, psychedelics came in the picture. I'm like, hippie style. Heck yeah, I'll take a bit of that. I don't know what other people experience, but I did a lot of research before I touched these things. I don't want to get addicted to things. I want to be really cautious. So I started, like any sensible person, with just dropping acid, and yeah, that was an experience. I did it 10 times in total. 9 out of 10 of them times were pretty much a live in hell experience. Um, Following directly after that, I smoked DMT. Now, if you don't know anything about DMT, that is it's dimethyltryptamine. It's a chemical inside your brain that gets released when you die. So when I was reading the reviews about this, like YouTube reviews and stuff, it was pretty much saying like you get the whole white pearly gates and the whole near-death experience. And I'm thinking like, all right, this is going to give me an answer to why I'm here and what I'm meant to do in this world. No, it cost me way too much money, and I smoked out of a crack pipe, and I ended up burning my fingers, and it was a pretty sad chapter. And what was meant to be my afterlife, I got a black screen. Nothing happened. And when you spent months prior researching this, you're like, oh, this is gonna show me my meaning of life, and I got nothing, and that really messed me up. My inevitable conclusion from this was, I first was like, my afterlife is a bit confused and concerning, and then I got enough mental clarity to be like, oh, I just never let go to actually let my body go through that experience. I'm not advocating this drug. The statement is more realizing that when I went through that, I realized that I had control issues, and I am kind of just spinning through life at the time, trying to grab onto anything that made me feel like I wasn't spinning out of control. So then I went through this whole control what you can, accept what you can moment. And that's an experience that lasts a while. Now, recently I started getting into like Taoism and certain things of philosophy. They all seem to coincide around just let go, go with the flow. And that seemed a bit woo woo at the start, but I'm getting it. Like I'm doing pretty big changes in my life right now, and I'm just letting go. And that doesn't mean be inactive and do nothing. That kind of usually means you have to still work in the right direction and do the work, but stop trying to hold on to what the future is going to look like and just take each day as it comes. In doing so, I'm doing this YouTube channel. Who knows where that goes? I met a really cool dude, Jammer. We met up today. Awesome. Really good time. That was out of my control. These things are all out of my control. I've recently moved, out of my control. I've gone self-employed, out of my control. And it's terrifying not having this level of any control. But the reality is we never ever do. That job that you think secure, that you hate, realistically, they can downsize, they could close, they could fire you for any reason they wanted to. That relationship, which gives everything, it doesn't take much to lose what we have. And it doesn't mean like don't have anything. It means embrace what we do have and enjoy it, but realize that we don't have control of the inevitable conclusion of what that means. Let's say my dog's here. This is Leica. She's a good egg. She's 11 years old. I know what that means. I accept that. That is the inevitable conclusion of all things. That's not in my control. What is in my control is giving her the best life I can. Giving her the best walks, giving her the best medical care, best food, as much time and attention as I can afford. That's in my control. And I think we need to try and apply that to a lot of things in our life. Speaking of dogs, hey Fen Dog. It's coming to realize that we just have to embrace what we have while we have it and nurture that. And that's really hard. That's really hard sometimes. But that's life. So as I'm going through this current chapter in my life, I am relinquishing control and I'm just free falling and just taking each day as it comes and do my best and let go of any grand scheme I have, because for a long period of my life, I was working like 10 years ahead. I'd be like, all right, in 10 years, I'm going to do this. In 5 years, I'm going to do this. In a year, I'm going to do this, 12 months, right? And then I had all these expectations, but then I would get closer, let's say a year from there, and I'd be like, all right, I don't actually want that anymore. Or I'd overwhelm myself with the grand scheme of what I had to do to get to that 10-year point. So the counter argument would be to this is like, know what you want out of life. And I agree with that. But if you don't know what you want, you can't have it fixed. You gotta have it flexible. You have to do the experiment with your life. You have to find what you enjoy. And along that way, things pop up. You meet awesome people. You have awesome experiences. You learn more about you. It's not always gonna be pretty, but that's kind of relinquishing control enough to experience life. So yeah, it's kind of fresh in my mind right now. My last video, I was talking about, the social anxiety that I suffer with, and anxiety in general. Then I had this joint walk with Jammer, and it was actually a really good time. I was nervous at the start. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was obvious, but like, it was a really good time. And I got on the other side, and it was like, this dude, he showed something that I very rarely see in this world, and it was an abundant mindset in a world that's scarcity-based. An honest man that just was like, I will help this dude out. Let's go for a walk. Let's talk about life. That is such a rare thing to see in this world, because I feel like everyone's out for themselves. This is not exactly the content of the video, but like this is, what I mean by that is like I'm talking about letting go, and I'm talking about instead gratitude for what just happened in my life. And it gave me faith in humanity, that there are good people out there that don't want anything in return other than to help their fellow person out. And I feel like if the world had more of that, it would be a much more friendly, forgiving, caring place. So just a mad shout out to Jammer on this one. I'll drop him a link in the description here, because that man deserves all the love he can get. So yeah, gratitude to this day. Have a wonderful one.